everybody. This is Jamie Stillman with Team Steelman Mortgage. Thanks for joining us today. You are in for a good treat today because we have my man Steve Martin, who is part of Team Steelman Mortgage, and a whole lot of other things in the world with us today. So we're going to get right into it. But Steve, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Jamie. I appreciate it.
Of course. So tell everybody a little bit about who you are, what you do, and kind of the bio stuff.
Sure. My name's Steve Martin. I work with Jamie at CMG Mortgage, powered by Team Steelman Mortgage. I work as his production assistant. I am a licensed loan officer. Basically work with him on every aspect that you can think of a mortgage loan.
And I think that's one of the biggest things. I had taught a class yesterday to a bunch of agents. And I think that's one of the things that's really special about our team and a little bit different is that I think a lot of people don't realize when they're talking to you, they're talking to a licensed loan officer that can, which people that aren't in the mortgage industry don't realize. You've got to be licensed to be able to talk about rates and fees and all that kind of stuff. So for me, with our team and all that kind of stuff, people don't realize like they're getting to talk to somebody that's been through the classes, knows all the ins and outs. And it's not just somebody, a lot of teams have people that just take data in, but you're a licensed loan officer that's been through the whole thing, know how to do it start to finish and everything like that.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's a huge advantage having you on our team for sure. And when you say production assistant and you handle stuff, kind of what part of the process do you handle for the most part?
Sure. So everything from basically the beginning stages of getting someone pre-qualified, pre-approved, getting them from that point to under contract to working the files from that point to getting them to the closing table. So from the beginning all the way till the end, I would say. Very
cool. So how long have you been doing mortgages, period, or, been a part of the mortgage industry?
I would say total. Well, I got into it in 2018.
Okay.
But I didn't really get rolling, getting my feet under me until 2019 and then the beginning of 20 when COVID hit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And everybody's story always is like, I grew up wanting to be in the mortgage business. It's never nothing like that. So how did you find the mortgage business and get into it?
Yeah. So my wife, one of her best friends from growing up, high school, still best friends. Her husband at the time was in the mortgage business. We got together. It was for one of their birthdays. I can't remember exactly who, but just he and I got to talking. And next thing you know, a couple of weeks later, he got me an interview with the company that he was at. Did that for a little while, went to another place with a better opportunity. Came to this place with Jamie with the best opportunity so far. So kind of short story of how it kind of happened. Yeah.
Did you do a lot before you got into the mortgage industry?
Like a lot of
different jobs, different types of stuff.
I did. It was mainly for the majority of me being a grown up, was in the service industry. So serving, bartending, just basically in the restaurant business for the majority of me working. And I was always trying to branch out and get out of the restaurant business. And, I finally feel like I found something that got me out and hopefully will keep me out permanently.
Keep you out permanently.
Yeah.
So do you ever find though, like doing some of that stuff probably flows over into how you handle dealing with people now and that kind of stuff, I would assume. I would agree with that 100%. I think everybody, their first job out of like high school should be in the service industry. Just so you can learn what it's like, to be in that business, but you learn how to deal with people, whoever comes across, the other side of the bar. It's not always the same people. Yeah. They're not always, in the same good mood. You learn how to take the good with the bad, and, there's a lot of good and bad, with the mortgage business. And not in a negative way, but there's, hard files, easy files. That's what I mean by, good and bad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been in the mortgage business forever, but before that, I didn't do the restaurant stuff, but I did a lot of like grocery stores, worked in grocery stores, worked for a U-Haul dealership. So still service oriented things, where you're dealing with people face to face all the time. And I totally agree with you. I think if it's somebody, even they get out of college, they should do something in the service industry, should be around people. Yeah. My kids learned that real quick, their first couple jobs, and just like learning how to deal with people. And I'm like, I did that when I was like 14 with my first job. I was bagging groceries. I was like 14. You guys are so lucky that you didn't work all through high school, all through college, whatever. Different situations. Some of my kids did, some of them didn't. But yeah, it's just like, we did that real early. And there wasn't a lot of like texting back and forth, and like you dealt with people all the time, you know, no matter what business you were doing, but especially in the service industry, you're face to face with a lot of people every day.
Exactly. I'll give you one guess what my first job ever was.
Man, ever. I'm trying to guess if it was in the restaurant industry or not. So I'm guessing you bust tables or something like that.
Nope.
No?
McDonald's.
Gotcha. I'm almost positive that was my wife Stacy's first job. I know she worked at McDonald's for a while, but I think it was her very first job as well.
Yeah.
Besides maybe babysitting and nannying and that kind of stuff. So
only reason why that popped up is because I was having that conversation with my son the other day.
Yeah.
Because I got a McDonald's for lunch, and I was like, "Oh, Dad used to work there. That was my first job, and I was actually Employee of the Month.
Yeah.
One of the months there. So, yeah.
You decided not to stay with that career?
Yeah. Luckily, this worked out.
Yeah.
I guess I've always got that to fall back on.
Always. So besides like mortgages and stuff, what do you enjoy doing in your spare time, hobbies and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. I love to play golf. Wish I could play a little bit better, but it's always fun. It's challenging. Basically all kinds of sports, but like my body is getting a little too old to go out there and run up and down a basketball court. I'm into watching sports, playing sports, pretty much any sport I really love.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to be a much better golfer. I don't go often enough, and I'm terrible. So until I get like consistent, at least trying, I don't know what type of golfer I am. Cause every time over the years that I've went like once or twice, I'm like, dude, this is so much fun. And then I won't go for 6 months. And so then I'm like, maybe I'd be okay at the sport. Maybe I'd be terrible, but I don't know.
Yeah. You never know.
It's definitely one of those ones that takes practice.
Definitely.
And consistency.
But it seems like the more I practice, I'm still stuck at just right here. And I'm like, I need to get here. So maybe one of those days.
Yeah. Well, I've always heard it's like the most frustrating sport in the world anyways. I mean, cause it's just,
frustrating and like gratifying at the same time. Cause you almost hit like a hole in one, or you chip in on a shot where you shouldn't have made it in, and you're like, this is why I keep coming back. But then you go and you blow up and have a 12 on the next hole, and you're like, I hate this sport. But
yeah, I have more of those.
Good and bad. It's fun, it's challenging, but it's you get to hang out with your friends, and my son wants to get into it as well. So something to do with him, but I love it on good days and bad days.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know you mentioned your son. So tell me a little bit about your family life.
Yeah. So I have a son. He's 9 years old. His name is Jax. My wife, Lauren, she has 2 kids. So I have a stepdaughter, Marlo, who is 17. She's in high school. And then Gage, her son, is obviously my stepson.
Yeah.
He's 14 and he's in middle school. They're kind of all into their own things. They were wanting to do this sport, then they wanted to try this. So now they're still just trying to, kind of figure out what they want to do as far as sports, if that's what they want to do. But yeah, they all stay pretty active for the most part.
Yeah, it's awesome. I was talking to Melissa on our team. She was in here not that long ago, and I kind of had the realization when she was talking, we were talking about blended families and all that kind of stuff, because she's got a couple stepdaughters now. And then I said, wait a second. I'm like, all 4 of us have blended families with stepkids and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, no wonder we relate to each other well. Because I like didn't even realize till I was talking to her. I was like, wait.
Well, it's funny because like I knew that as well, but it never really like kind of dawned on me that all 4 of us are essentially in the same predicament as far as blended families. That's interesting.
So it does make sense why we'd be able to talk about it and be relatable a little bit, because we're all doing some stage of that. Yep. Obviously, I'm the old guy, so I've got some kids that are grown up and having kids now, which is kind of crazy, but it's happening. I'm getting old enough, like we were talking about before we started this, that a lot of like Harmony and Alyssa don't get our references at all. Try to say something on the morning call and it's just silence.
Well, especially movie references, but my wife doesn't get my movie references either because she's like, girls don't quote movies. And I'm like, nah, you've seen the movie, so you know what movie I'm referring to. Yeah. But yeah, it's like night and day, but we got a couple of years on them.
Yeah. I need to remember that reference though, because Stacy just says, I don't watch every movie and memorize every single word. I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know why you do that. I'm like, I need to, tell her that Lauren said girls don't memorize movies, I guess. Because she's just like, I don't know what movie you're talking about every time you say something. I'm just like, you should. It's a classic.
Yeah,
come on.
Exactly.
So like you said, being in the mortgage industry, what is kind of some of your favorite parts of not just, dealing with people and doing mortgages, but what we have going on in particular? What's the thing that keeps you coming back to do it over and over and wanting to grow in it and do that kind of stuff?
I mean, the big thing is, excuse me. Like I enjoy, like a lot of our clientele is, first time home buyers.
Yeah.
So, getting these people pre-approved and then they're like, oh my goodness, I never thought I would get pre-approved. And I'm like, well, you are.
Yeah.
Here's your letter. You're good to go, shopping for a house. And then when you get them under contract, they're the ones that are like always freaking out about, why do you need this? And this seems like a lot. And I'm just like, hey, this is normal. These are all things that we need. And then once you get them to that closing table, you're texting them, calling them, and just how thankful, they are, because they've never done it. And, they rely on myself, Jamie, Alyssa, Harmony to get them from, right here to the closing table. So I would say that's the most gratifying part of why I like doing it. Obviously us as a team, like we all work together. We've got a great flow. We've got our stuff down. We know what we're doing and we do it really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say? I think it's interesting to hear everybody's perspective, in the most frustrating part or thing you wish you could change about our industry and how it works. Not in particular to us or our company, but, just one of my biggest thing is like the perception out there that, it's a super easy process, because it is easy. That's true, but there is a lot more to it that, documentation and making sure you get it all in and getting everything on the front end. But then the underwriter can ask for something. You submit this. Well, when you submit that, it opens up the door for a few more things. So kind of a misconception of, like, hey, you get pre-approved in 30 minutes, you turn the documents in, you show up at closing, you get keys. That's one of the parts to me that's like, well, we want everybody to know it's an easy process. Don't be scared of it, but it is a process, getting from A to B to the closing.
One thing that I think should and hopefully one day will change, when you apply for a mortgage, I feel like you should have to provide all of your logins, passwords for all of your banking institutions, for everything that we need to log in and access, because that way we can take care of everything and we'll get it done for you. Yeah. And it's a lot quicker if we can just hop in, because I know what I need to get. Some borrowers are not very, tech savvy. Yeah. And they're like, I don't know what the URL is. I don't understand. And I'm like, can you just give me your login? And they're like, yes. I'll log right in, get what we need, have a good day. So if that was a part of a requirement when you apply for a mortgage, it would make it so much quicker. Not for all borrowers, but for some that, need a little bit of assistance as far as trying to obtain online documents. Explaining
to people what it is exactly we need.
Yes.
I feel like AI is going to kind of go that direction at some point, and I think the privacy part of it is where it's going to have to get worked out, but I think eventually we will be able to just like jump right in and log in and everything will be there somehow, some way. But man, it would make it easy, because just trying to explain to somebody that doesn't, they just look at their bank statement real quick for whatever they need, and we're like, no, we need the full statement. We need the pages that are blank. Mm-hmm. We need the page that you think doesn't matter. You can't black out the account number. You can, like, why do you need to see where I spend my money? Well, because you might have a debt we haven't counted, or you might have another job in THDA. You'll be over the income limits. Just all the different things that are out there. But, they're just saying like, why do you need to know this? I'm just trying to buy a house. And I was talking to a group of agents yesterday, explaining assets to them. Like, we're doing a first time home buyer, sellers paying all of their closings. So they're like, I'm not bringing any money to closing. Why do I want to submit all my bank statements to you, or that I have a 401k? And I'm telling them, well, it could be the difference between being denied and approved. If you're bringing no money to closing, you have no money in the bank, but you've got $80,000 in a 401k, your ability to repay looks a whole lot better. If something happens, they're going to dip into that 401k and not lose the house. So that gives a ton of confidence.
Yeah.
But from a buyer standpoint, they're just like, I don't want to show you all my stuff. Why do you need that? You know? So it can be, But you were talking about some of the people we deal with. Have you had any, without naming names to everybody, but people you really enjoyed working with, or, that kind of stuff? Had specific situations where it's been really cool to work with those people type of thing, or got something done that might have been harder to do than, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of like those, types of, borrowers that, they're so thankful. Hey, I can't believe, you got this done for me. I never thought I'd be able to do it. I know you said don't say any names, but I can't remember his name, but it was a guy a couple months ago that never thought he would be able to buy a house. He was self-employed. If I remember, we started working his file like a year, maybe year and a half before. And then he had to, get some stuff with his self-employed back in order and claim it, but he got his taxes done, and we got him and his wife and his kids into a beautiful home. And he still, we text still. That's just randomly, cool. And he wants to have me over and have steak dinners, and we got another one closing on Monday. He didn't ever think that he wasn't going to be able to do it, but this is the second mortgage that we did for him, and he's such a nice guy.
That's cool.
His name rhymes with Barry. I'm not going to say his name, but I mean, he's so nice, and it's like back to what we were talking about in the beginning. It's people like this that never thought you'd be able to get a mortgage and buy this beautiful home for me and my family. Yeah. And then we get it done, and, we essentially, in their eyes, we save the day, but like we're just working their file with their information, their income, their assets, their credit. Yeah. So, there's many of those that are like that,
Yeah. I know we've had a bunch of them. And I think that's what's so cool is when you get to make somebody's day like that. And I think it even goes back to like what, talking about you being a licensed loan officer with the experience that we have. I mean, we get on the phone sometimes about a deal, and it's like, you'll say, maybe try this. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that, or vice versa. And so I think that goes a long way too, because it's not like you said, it's their information, but you still got to know something or have some experience to be able to go, maybe this will work. Let's look at it from this angle. Let's look at it from that angle, try to do that. And I think that's what's huge, because I've been in offices with other loan officers before where it's kind of like every man for themselves or whatever. Like nobody really shares information, but with us being on the same team, we can kind of like talk about different ways we've looked at it. Or you'll go, what was that one file we had like last year? Let me look that up and see, what did we do? How did we structure that? So I think that kind of stuff goes a long way, and just having you as part of our team makes us kind of like better than most, just because of the information that we can share.
Well, and that door swings both ways, because like there's the same thing, like where you'll pick up on something, sometimes I do, and then we'll both be like, whoever's on the opposite end of that, like, oh my goodness, how did I not think of that? Yeah. And you're like, well, I did this last week, or, it's, basically two minds are working, and it's like, sometimes you're not, everything's not on the right on the front of your mind. Yeah. So then you're like, okay, try this. And I'm like, makes perfect sense. Yeah. Makes perfect sense. And then, it's good to have that to bounce it off of. Like you said, you've been in the mortgage industry a lot longer than me, but like everybody forgets things, every once in a while. Yeah. And everything changes. Yeah. With the guidelines. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I feel the same way about like our whole team, because Alyssa's come along. I mean, her organizational skills, I know, help me just tremendously, and help you as well. And then the more she learns, she's like, hey, what about this? Hey, do you think we should look at that? So then she kind of even gets the ball rolling before we even get the file all the way, that, maybe we should look at this, or maybe we should look at that. And so the more she learns, it's just like, man, it really becomes a thing of like, you put all these brains together and you really got something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you about some of the stuff that people ask questions about all the time. Is like title, appraisal, that kind of stuff. From your perspective, as somebody that like orders that stuff, gets it back in, are there different appraisals that take longer? Are there different, what's a normal turn time for an appraisal to come back from the time we order it?
Here lately, I would say if we just order a regular appraisal and we've got plenty of time, it's not closing 30 days from now, there's no need to order it on a rush. So we can, tentatively put a due date of, say 2 weeks from now. In situations like that, I would say we're probably getting them back in 10 or 11 calendar days, not business days. I would say the longest to get back would be VA appraisals, because you can't rush those, and you're just at the mercy of the VA. Now you can reach out to the appraiser. Hey, can you give us, an ETA on this? They're maybe wanting to move up closing, or maybe we got a contract late.
Yeah.
But I would say the longest turn time would be the VA appraisal.
Yeah. And going along with that, everybody always hears about like 8-day closes, or like a file like we've got right now that's just making incredible time to make that happen. How does an 8-day close happen? What does it take to actually make that happen with, customers, agents, all that kind of stuff? How would you say if somebody came and said, I got a file I need to close in 8 days, what are okay, I need you to do this?
Mm-hmm. First thing that I think we normally do, if we don't already know this, is find out, are we saving this from another lender? Did they already order the appraisal? Has it been paid for? Has it been completed? Because then that lets us know. And also depending on what loan program, if it's FHA, you've got to get the case number transferred from the other lender. If the appraisal hasn't been paid for, they're not going to release anything. So kind of start there and see what's been done on it. And then try to find out, okay, what are we saving it from? Is it just because the contract just came in? The other lender couldn't approve it based on blank. And then figure out, what do we need to get? Hey, if we need to close this in 8 days, we're going to need the realtor's help, the borrower's help, everything that we need. We're going to need it now.
Yeah.
And, because we got to get the disclosures out. You got to get all these signed. Got to get the closing disclosure signed, in the correct amount of time. So it's a lot of everybody kind of stop what you're doing. We've got to get this from here's the starting line, and then we got the finish line in 8 days. So we've done, a lot of those. And sometimes they're pretty easy, like maybe the other lender, they had a falling out or something, but they've usually, if they're 8 days before closing, the majority of them have already gotten documents, that they're going to probably need, and maybe had those ready to go. It puts you under the gun, but we can definitely do it, especially if the appraisal's already been done. We can get a rush appraisal in a week. You gotta nudge some elbows and get some favors, but it's just a lot of it's a lot of people. Like I said, realtors, loan officers, processors, underwriters, appraisers.
That's just some of them.
Just some, and the closing department. Everybody is kind of put under the microscope. To get, hey, we don't care the reason. All we know is we have to close this in 8 days. And like I said, we've done, I don't know.
A lot. And they're not our favorite, but you don't always get to pick the loans, that you do. And they come in and we got to, close it in 8 days. And the one that we have coming up, it wasn't quote unquote a 8-day close, but it kind of turned into it, just, some stuff that we know about with the circumstances, but we're going to get it done. We'll be clear to close before Monday, and they'll be happy. The realtors will be happy. And that's what I always tell people too. Like if an agent calls me and says, hey, I need this closed in 8 days or however many days, the first thing I say is they're like, is that possible? And I'm always like, yes, if everybody cooperates. That means if the borrower has to get something to us, they've got to stop what they're doing and get it to us. If we need an amendment, if we need anything like that, everybody's got to cooperate, because if we can't get the appraisal back fast enough or transferred, if you can't get us the amendment, if they can't get us their W-2s, then every day that we lose is harder and harder to make that 8-day close. So, we can do it if everybody's on the board and everybody cooperates and everybody jumps in when they need to. And then it's, hey, it's no problem. It's just a matter of getting it processed and doing it. But if there's something that somebody's dragging their feet on, then everybody's got a problem, because that one thing's not coming in. We're all waiting on it.
Well, and the good thing, like the scenarios that we've had pop up like this, it's usually, for the most part, been like one of our referral, realtor partners that we know really well. We're super familiar with. So if we are not getting what we need from the borrowers, we're like, hey, Miss Realtor, and they'll get them. They'll help us get what we need, because, we've got a really good relationship with them. So that helps out tremendously as well.
That's what I was just telling those agents yesterday. I was like, some of the people we work with, they prepare people on the front end. And that's what, like when I'm talking to agents and they're like, what can we do to to have more deals that start out good and finish good. And I'm like, it's all about upfront. Like when we take that application, if you can encourage the buyer to give us everything, whether they think we need it or not, tell us everything, tell us what they have, what they don't have. The more we do on that front end, the next parts of the process are going to go pretty smooth, because that's why we put those systems in place. But if we get to here and then we got to go back and then we got to go back and we got to wait. So like, and 99% of people in our world, at least, they go to their realtor for everything. Their realtor's number one. Their realtor's going to be like, thanks for getting this job done. But then they're also, if I drop the ball and like Team Steelman doesn't get the loan done, they're going to be mad at me, but then they're going to turn around and look at the agent and go, why'd you send me to them? I didn't like that guy, but why'd you send him to me when he couldn't get it done? So they take a lot of the responsibility on themselves. So it makes sense to turn to them and go, hey, if you'll nudge them a little bit, they'll probably get it in if you're asking them. As silly as it sounds, like we're the ones with the money. So it seems like we're the ones giving you the money. You should give us what we want, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. Yeah. So it's having the agents nudge a little bit is a big part of making things happen fast.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So a few things that are just totally off base from not mortgage related, just fun stuff to talk about. What's your favorite movie of all time and why? Or one of them, because I couldn't name one. I couldn't name one if I had to. But what's a movie you really like and why do you love it so much?
I mean, we could sit here all day. I'll give you two. So like, I'm from the era of like Adam Sandler, Chris Farley, those guys. So like Big Daddy has always been one of my favorite movies, and I probably let my son watch that when he was too young, but now it's like one of his favorite movies too. Yeah. And he can quote the whole movie with me. So pretty much any of the older Adam Sandler movies, I love. And then like an opposite end of that. So like Gladiator, movies like those. But that movie I could watch day after day after day. So
if it's on, I'm not turning the channel. I'll pick it up right here.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies like that, like Training Day and
it's a good one.
A bunch of other ones. But I would like all movies pretty much.
Yeah. We were talking about references earlier. It's kind of funny you said that. We were at actually a funeral yesterday. With somebody in my wife's side of the family, and we stopped and we were talking to her cousin. Her cousin's two kids are in their mid-20s, and she said something about blah 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 Big Daddy, and they both just went, and she went, Big Daddy, Adam Sandler, like, you've seen that movie, right? And they were both like, no idea what you're talking about, and we both just went, what? You're kidding me, right? Like, I know some movies you haven't seen, but you've never seen. She just kept going on like parts of the movie, like you really never seen it, like Frankenstein, the glasses where he's invisible. You never seen any of that, and they're like, no. And we just walked out of there like, oh man, how is that possible?
Sheltered life.
Yes,
it's a very sheltered life.
That's
what I would say.
Yeah, you gotta do more. So what about on TV? If you get a chance to watch right now, Netflix or anything like that, what's something that you've binged or been really into?
So something I binge like all the time is the Michael Jordan documentary.
Yeah. The Last Dance.
Yeah. It came out, several years ago.
Yeah.
But like, it never gets old to me. Just like watching that dude and what he did and like that whole team in that era. But something new. What was it called? Stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. On Apple TV with Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson. Yeah.
That was a good one. My wife has got me pretty much hooked on like every Housewives franchise.
Really? Okay.
So we watch a lot of those.
Yeah. I try not to watch too, like she tries to watch some episodes when I'm not there, but Stacey's a former dance teacher. So like Dancing with the Stars, The Voice, all that kind of stuff. She's real big into that. And like some seasons I'll get hooked where we're at home at the same time and I'll watch like a whole season of it. And then she'll get to where she can watch it and she's like, I'm not going to make you watch it tonight or whatever. But yeah, she's real into that stuff just because that's what she used to do. So
yeah.
And sometimes I like it, but other times I'm just like, I've been watching like Tulsa King.
Yeah. And that's a good one.
Yeah. Some of that stuff that she cares nothing about watching. So it's like, we'll trade off. We're like, I'll watch an episode of that if you'll watch an episode of The Voice or whatever. So,
there you go.
It works out.
You win some, you lose some.
Absolutely. So wrapping up, I can't believe we've been talking this long, but kind of wrapping up, what do you see, your future? family wise, work wise, short term or long term? Do you like what you're doing? Stay in this business for a while? Family going to probably stay in this area, that kind of stuff. How do you see the next couple years playing out for you?
Yeah. We're out in Fairview, so not too far outside of Nashville. No plans to leave there anytime soon. Do I plan on what was the other part? Do I plan on staying in
this business, staying in this area, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. No, I love this job. I love what I do. And I was, given a great opportunity to come to CMG, and then, luckily got linked up with you. And I mean, I've got zero complaints about what I do for a living.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it. You guys check out Steve. I almost forgot. If somebody did want to contact you directly about mortgages or anything else, how would they do that?
You can reach me personally at my cell phone, 615-587-6136, or my work email, stevem@cmgfi.com. And you can reach me at any time.
Awesome. Again, thanks, Steve, for being here today. Just wanted to tell y'all thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. You can reach out to either one of us at any time for mortgage questions or anything that we as a team might be able to help you guys with. So reach out, get some questions answered, buy some homes, refinance some homes, and let us be a part of it. Thanks. We'll see you next time.